In a dense jungle, under the cover of night, a group of captives are tied up with ropes. Before them, a terrifying clown with a painted smile is cutting open the stomach of a tied-up, helpless girl on a table. Who are these innocent victims, and who is this twisted clown? Let's unfold this story to find out. The film begins with Charlie, who is trying to learn magic tricks from his grandfather. However, he fails to perform them correctly, which prompts his grandfather to scold him. Charlie attempts to perform the abracadabra trick on a balloon, but it accidentally hits his grandfather's head, infuriating him further. His grandfather rebukes him, saying Charlie will never become a good magician and is better suited to being a clown. Charlie then tears a napkin into two pieces and lets out a maniacal laugh. Afterwards, Charlie falls asleep, only to be haunted by a nightmare. In the nightmare, Charlie is shown to be on a road trip with his parents in a car, eager to show his father a magic trick. However, his father dismisses him, prompting his mother to intervene, saying that his father always rejects Charlie. This leads to an argument between Charlie's parents, during which his mother gives him permission to perform the trick. As soon as Charlie says abracadabra and performs the trick on a balloon, the car crashes, resulting in the death of Charlie's parents. Charlie wakes up from the flashback, clutching a cherished family photo and falls back asleep, holding it tightly. The next morning, Charlie is walking on the road when he meets Susie, who appreciates him. They're chatting when Mikey arrives, snatches Charlie's hat, and walks away. Susie picks up the hat and returns it to Charlie. Mikey then starts taunting Charlie, calling him a parents killer, and warning that he'll kill Susie one day. Mikey runs off, and Susie tries to calm Charlie down, saying Mikey is just jealous of Charlie's magic tricks. Susie visits Charlie's house with her mother, and later that night, Charlie and Susie are in a toy house, lit by dim light. Charlie attempts his failed abracadabra trick on a balloon again. Susie enjoys the trick when they suddenly hear footsteps, but they ignore it, thinking it's just Grandpa. However, the door creaks open by itself, and Charlie sees a joker crawling behind Susie. Charlie is shocked, and cards slip from his hands, hitting Susie, who starts bleeding from her cheek. Charlie is terrified, and Susie, seeing the blood, starts crying and runs away. Charlie follows her. They're running when Susie trips and falls. Grandpa appears scolding Charlie, who then runs out of the house. On the way, Mikey is hiding, and as Charlie runs past, Mikey trips him. Charlie falls, and Mikey starts teasing him again, calling him a parents killer. Charlie gets up, furious, but Mikey pushes him down again. This time, Charlie picks up a nearby stone and hits Mikey, who falls. Charlie continues to hit Mikey with the stone, laughing maniacally. He then runs into the jungle, eventually collapsing. In the next scene, a strange room is shown, filled with newspapers and other circus objects. Amidst these, a clown is seated, drawing a portrait of himself. But who is this? This mystery will unfold as the story progresses. Then, a couple is shown heading to the forest for a picnic. Upon arrival, they seem delighted, but there's an eerie feeling that someone is watching them from the shadows. The couple then enters their home. Let me reveal that this couple is Susie and Mike, Charlie's fellows. Later, as Susie rests on the bed and Mike gazes out the window, he spots a clown standing in the jungle. However, when Susie gets up to look, there's no one there. Was this just Mike's imagination? Let's see. We then see a clown hiding in the jungle who runs away after noticing someone. Then Susie and Mike enter the jungle where Susie finds a diary in the bushes. According to Mike, this place is famous due to writers, so the diary might belong to one. As they leave, they meet two guys, one of whom compliments Mike's shirt. This leads to a conversation, and introductions are made, revealing that the two guys are gay partners, Blake and Jack. After agreeing to meet again the next day, they part ways, unaware that a clown has been secretly watching and listening to their conversation. Later that night, Susie has a dream where she's searching for Charlie, calling out his name. Suddenly, A terrifying clown appears before her, causing Susie to wake up from the nightmare. The next morning, Susie wakes up to find Mike recording an exercise video. Susie watches him from the window and then picks up the diary she found in the jungle. The diary mentions a clown figure in the jungle, warning that people who come here are not alone, but are being watched by a figure with a painted smile. After reading more stories, Susie closes the diary and approaches Mike. We then see Susie and Mike meeting Blake and Jack again in the dressing room. Susie tells them that Mike saw a clown in the jungle, but they reply that they haven't seen anyone. They plan a picnic outdoors, and in the next scene, they're all having a picnic together, joined by Alice and Tom. During the conversation, Susie shares a childhood incident where Charlie's magic trick went wrong, causing her to fall off the stairs. Charlie, thinking Susie was dead, ran away into the jungle and disappeared. After that day, Charlie was never seen again, and people blamed Susie for his disappearance. As they gossip, Tom gets up and walks into the jungle, feeling like someone is behind him. He turns around, but there's no one. However, he then sees a clown standing next to him, which frightens Tom due to the clown's eerie appearance. The clown wants to show Tom his magic tricks, but Tom refuses and tries to push him away. As Tom attempts to leave, the clown reappears in front of him, offering a flower. Tom pushes the clown again and tries to leave, but this time, the clown, enraged, attacks Tom's feet, causing him to scream loudly. His friends at the picnic hear his scream, but ignore it. In the jungle, the clown pins Tom to the ground, leaning over him to prevent escape. Tom screams again, prompting Alice and the others to rush towards the jungle, while the clown is sitting on top of Tom, using a scalpel to gouge out Tom's eyes. The clown then lets out a maniacal laugh, celebrating his success, and dances in the jungle with glee. Meanwhile, Alice and the others search for Tom but can't find him. Further ahead, Alice spots blood on the ground and calls out to the others. Seeing the blood, everyone becomes worried. Alice tries to call Tom, but his number is unreachable. Mike, Blake, and Jack form a group to search for Tom in one direction, while Alice and Susie go in another. No one knows where Tom is or the agony he's suffering. Let's see if they can reach Tom. Alice and Susie return home, where Susie hands Alice her mobile phone. As soon as Alice calls Tom, the call connects, but instead of Tom's voice, circus music plays. Susie then tries to call Mike, but the signal drops. Mike and his friends start heading back, sensing someone's presence in the jungle. They think it's Tom, but instead, the clown boos them, causing everyone to scream and run back. The clown chases after them. Blake falls behind and the clown grabs him, but Blake manages to break free and escapes. On the other side, Alice is sitting at home crying, while Susie tries to comfort her, assuring her that they'll find Tom. Meanwhile, Mike and his friends arrive and tell them about the clown. Everyone looks worried and frightened. As they discuss how to escape, Tom's voice is suddenly heard, calling out to Alice and the others. Alice, hearing Tom's voice, rushes out of the house towards the jungle where Tom is sitting. But as soon as Alice sees Tom, she starts screaming, horrified, because Tom's eyes are missing and his face is filled with blood. Alice, crying and screaming, challenges the psycho clown to come forward, demanding to know where he is. As Blake and Jack suggest escaping and rush towards the car, the clown appears, holding a branch, and confronts all of them. Alice picks up a nearby wood to attack the clown, who falls down and starts laughing loudly. Meanwhile, Blake and Jack try to start the car, but the clown escapes from Alice and sneaks into the back seat, attempting to kill Jack by covering his mouth. Blake tries to rescue Jack, but the clown doesn't let go. Blake then grabs a spray and sprays it on the clown's face, causing him to release Jack and disappear. The rest of the group arrives, and Mike tries to start his car, but it won't start. What will ultimately happen to them? Will they escape the clown's clutches? Let's see. When they're all inside the house, they hear the voice again. Upon looking out the window, they see the clown waving, holding Tom. Alice rushes outside, followed by everyone except Blake, who stays inside, holding a brush for safety. On the other side, Alice frantically searches for Tom in the jungle but can't find him. Instead, the clown appears, hitting her with a stick, causing Alice to lose consciousness. The clown maniacally laughs. Now the rest of the group searches for Alice, but they get caught in a trap and fall. Night falls, and when they regain consciousness, they find their feet tied, unable to escape. The clown laughs, and they all turn towards him. He's standing next to a figure covered with a sheet. As he removes the sheet, they're shocked to see Alice, alive, bound with ropes, and her mouth taped shut. Circus music plays in the background. The clown begins to brutally cut open Alice's stomach with a large knife. With their feet tied, no one can save Alice. The clown continues to mutilate Alice, then pulls out threads from her stomach, performing a twisted magic trick. Everyone is forced to watch Alice's gruesome death, and they cry, helpless to do anything. It's clear that they're dealing with a psycho who deserves to suffer the same fate that he inflicts on others. The morning arrives, and Blake is sleeping alone in the house when everyone suddenly bursts in. They tell him about Alice's gruesome death. After this, they grab their belongings and rushes out of the house. Meanwhile, we see the clown, who places joker noses on Tom and Alice's corpses and performs a balloon trick in front of them, reminiscent of Charlie's magic trick from the beginning of the film. In the jungle, everyone is running for their lives, with Blake repeatedly falling behind due to exhaustion. He trips and falls, getting mud on his face, which he tries to clean. Ironically, at this moment, he should be more concerned about his life than his appearance. After a while, they all stop for a moment, and suddenly, the clown appears from behind, grabs Susie, and disappears with her. Everyone starts searching for Susie again, but Blake falls behind due to exhaustion and suddenly vanishes. When Jack looks back, he becomes worried about Blake's disappearance. We see the psycho clown singing and dancing while holding Blake captive, who is unconscious. The clown tapes Blake's mouth shut and wakes him up. As soon as Blake sees the clown, he becomes terrified, and the clown is delighted. The clown then pulls out knives from his sleeve and makes a stabbing gesture as if to stab Blake, but doesn't actually do it, instead hitting points nearby Blake. Nearby, Susie is unconscious in a netted bag. The clown leaves Blake and drags Susie away. In the jungle, Mike and Jack are searching for Blake and Susie, but the clown watches them. He takes Susie to his home, where he places her with Alice and Tom's corpses. He puts a joker nose on Susie and wakes her up. Susie screams loudly, trying to escape, but the clown hits her, stopping her. On the other side, in the jungle, Blake reunites with Jack and Mike. Jack quickly moves to untie Blake, but the clown appears, and Mike tries to grab him. However, the clown escapes and performs his balloon trick again. Mike tries to attack him, but the clown disappears into smoke, which envelops Mike's face. Blake rushes to Mike's side, but the terrifying clown sneaks up from behind and beheads Jack with a knife. Blake sits next to Jack's severed head, crying helplessly. The gruesome death of his partner is a massive shock for him. The scene shifts to Susie, who is tied to a chair by the clown. As Susie regains consciousness, she looks around, struggles to move her chair, and manages to reach a nearby table where the clown's belongings are scattered. Susie barely manages to grab a knife and cuts her restraints, freeing herself. She then rummages through the clown's belongings and finds Charlie's glasses. Susie searches further and discovers a newspaper with a report about Charlie's disappearance, which makes her emotional. Suddenly, the clown appears, and Susie quickly turns around, pointing the knife at him, warning him to stay back. She then asks him who he is and what he did to Charlie. The clown responds by showing Susie the same balloon magic trick that Charlie had shown her. He then reveals himself to be Charlie. Is the terrifying clown actually the innocent Charlie? Let's see. Susie is shocked by the revelation and introduces herself as Susie Newton, Charlie's friend. The clown, Charlie, is surprised but doesn't believe her, thinking that Susie had died, which is why he ran away. Charlie still refuses to accept the truth, so Susie explains that she had only pretended to die but didn't want to scare Charlie. Still, Charlie repeatedly blames himself, but Susie tells him how much she missed him and apologizes for her actions. As Susie asks for forgiveness, Charlie breaks down in tears, so Susie hugs him with all her love and emotions. Suddenly, Mike appears and beats up the clown. Susie stops Mike, explaining that it's Charlie, who became twisted because of her. However, Mike doesn't listen and taunts Charlie, calling him a psycho, just like in their childhood. Mike again tries to kill Charlie, but Susie grabs him and takes him away from the scene. Then, a flashback shows Charlie performing a trick for Susie in their childhood, where Charlie sees a clown. Susie then pretends to die by falling onto the stairs, but the clown sees that Susie is not dead, just injured. The clown laughs and gets up. This reveals that the clown is not Charlie, but someone who scared Charlie. A camera shot then focuses on a mask, and the scene shifts to a dark, dense jungle at night, where the clown is running, and Susie and Mike are trying to escape from him. When Mike and Susie stop at a point, the clown appears behind them. He attacks Mike and tries to kill him, but Susie tries to stop him. The clown punches Susie, making her fall, and then kills Mike. After killing Mike, the clown laughs and approaches Susie to kill her with a knife. Just then, Blake arrives and severely beats the clown with a stick. He then picks up Susie and takes her away. Susie doesn't want to leave Mike, but Blake takes her with him, and the clown and Mike disappear into the darkness. As Blake and Susie walk along the road, a car stops beside them, driven by the clown, accompanied by another clown with a painted smile, holding a drink and balloons. He invites Susie and Blake to join their party, but they're terrified and refuse. Meanwhile, the clown has placed Mike's corpse alongside the others, with a Joker nose on his face. Jack's beheaded corpse is also among them, although the clown had initially left his head separate. The clown stands before them, beginning his show, marking the end of the film.